What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Plastic Power Podcast. Today in this episode, we're going to be talking about the MORO ARC. Recently, Daredevil 19, he read up on the entire arc, got caught up all along with it. We're going to be doing another podcast later when he eventually gets into the Granola arc, and then from there, we'll be doing more episodes about the manga and such.
Yes. Yeah, it was. I was extremely entertained throughout the entire arc. Every time I'd finish a chapter, I would want to read the next one to find out what happens in the next chapter, because there was a lot of cliffhangers at the end, which they do a lot. That's how they draw you in, and they were drawing me in really good. Fish line sink hooker.
What?
Fish line sink hook.
Oh,
What is it? The fishing expression? I'm probably saying it backwards.
I don't. Fish line is.
Like
I think I just fish line and sink. I don't know if I've never heard. I feel like I've heard this very
Fish line and sinker. There we go.
There we go.
Fish line and sinker. I think that's it. There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Said hooker before.
Oh my gosh. We're on a. You gotta remember, we're not on that kind of podcast. This is the Plastic Power Podcast. We talk about
Yes.
we talk about anime and
the-
action figures here, not that other one that's rated R or whatever. I don't know what other things you're doing. But yeah, like this is okay.
Yeah.
The Moro arc in the Dragon Ball community is widely considered to be the best arc of one of the best arcs of Dragon Ball Super. It is like even past the anime. And I absolutely agree. I can definitely see why they say that, because the way that Moro is introduced, he is just a very intimidating villain, and he's kind of like, I feel like he is a very refreshing villain too, being very different from like how they incorporated a lot of the other villains prior to him. There is a lot of similarities that they definitely took for Moro, obviously, that being, from King Piccolo, the fact that, he wanted to regain his youth, or then like, or then like, with aspects of like Frieza, where he has like this whole galactic army, or different things about, with Cell, where he, also like when he ate 7-3, he gained like a new form, even looking like Cell in that form that he was in. But
I thought of perfect Cell once he did that. I was like, wow.
And that is because
it's like Cell.
And that is because, like, with the way that Moro was done, he was meant to be a representation of all of Goku's past villains, kind of coming force in like a way. That's the way that he was intended to be written. That's why you have like his backstory and such, coming from a place where it's similar to Majin Buu, but not really. It was more so like, they took this is a monster from millions upon millions of years ago that the Supreme Kais that the Kais had to handle in order to and seal them away for so long. They really did a good job, I think, incorporating the story and incorporating Majin Buu.
Yeah.
Now, Daredevil, I want you to tell me a little about what you thought about how they handled Majin Buu in this arc.
Before that, let's get right back to that, because I like how they handled Majin Buu. But as you were just mentioning everything, a lot of it reminded you of certain characters or aspects from Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, so far, this Moro arc reminded me of. It reminded me of Dragon Ball Z. The beginning of Super, or the first half, reminded me more of just Dragon Ball, with the tournaments and stuff like that. This one, there's a threat, and a very serious threat, an extremely intimidating threat. Like you said, his introduction was scary. Well, for me, they made it seem scary, like this guy is a freaking monster. So, so far this arc has given me big Dragon Ball Z vibes, and I'm loving it so far.
Yeah.
But Majin Buu, I loved Majin Buu in this. They made him more relevant to the story again, but I love how him and that, what's the Kai? I know Moro was calling him Lord of Lords. I love the whole dynamic between them two because Boo absorbed him years and years ago.
Oh yeah.
Chubby Kai.
I know who you're talking about. Is it the Grand? No. It's the I think the Grand Supreme Kai.
Yeah.
But in the manga, I don't. Because in the manga they call them Lords of Lords and Lords of things. It's
yeah.
I prefer calling them like by those names because it's a lot easier to say. But yeah, like Lord of Worlds, Lord of Supreme Worlds, that type of thing. It's just like it's a mouthful.
Yeah, but I the whole dynamic with him and Majin Buu, because Majin Buu absorbed him back then when we learned about that during the Majin Buu saga. But it was cool that they brought him back, and not Majin Buu wasn't the only character being relevant again in the story. So was that Supreme, what was it, Supreme King Kai or something?
The Grand Supreme Kai.
Grand Supreme Kai. They made him relevant again. Even after those small parts he had in Z, it's just cool seeing stuff like that. A character who had such a small part in one saga, and they came back and they had a pretty big part in this arc here, and it was cool seeing that. I really enjoyed watching that because he did help out, but also at the very end, you see, I guess he helped create Oob or something with Boo. They don't really show you.
Oh yeah,
they just show him there with
at the
Oob
end.
After.
Yeah, so like at the end, so like as they talked about throughout the arc, so like because of the split between like the kid Boo, like the evil part of Boo, like the two halves. So Oob was what basically inherited the part of Majin Buu that had the God Key. Which is why, like, at the end, when Vegeta's using a reversed Force Spirit Fission in order to gather energy, and they needed God Key, Oob was a huge supplier of that, just by putting his hand up in the air, because he held all of it. And it's like it was great because you really got to see a lot of the old aspects of Oob. You got to see Oob again, before. And it actually makes, I feel like it actually makes the end of Z even better than how it was before, because with Oob having God Key and him having all this potential, it adds even more context into that final fight than as opposed to like how it was before. This is one of those changes that were very well done. I like that.
And the tying in is great too, just like what you said, how the end of Z is going to be, and we're seeing Oob now before the end of Z, which was really awesome to see too.
Yeah, and it doesn't take away at all from like the Goku and Oob's first interaction. Like he helped out at the very least with this, but then he'll come in and help out later and such.
Yeah. Goku knows he needs to wait till he grows and trains. Well, trains the best he can until Goku says he'll train him.
Yeah. Now, one of the things when it came to introducing Moro, I absolutely liked. So like after Miras and after like they like Goku, they helped Miras like sort of like stop these bandits on this train. And then they tell him about Moro. Goku using the instant transmission in an attempt to sense his energy. Moro just like, not only does he realize that Goku is trying to sense him out, like he senses energy back in a way, and it scares Goku. Goku realizes that Moro is onto him, and it makes it to that introduction in and of itself was like really even added even more to like the fear of Moro and everything, which is great.
No, it was like what I was saying. They made Moro scary. You've never seen a villain do that with Goku. Whenever he's trying to find like instant transmission and search for him, that was like some like horror movie stuff. But like you said, Goku even got scared. It freaked Goku out. But that was cool seeing that.
Yes. And I was like, I am like all for like the way that they handled Moro. Now, Vegeta's arc throughout this arc, I think that this was one of those instances where I think a lot of people really began to like, be on board with how Dragon Ball Super went with with handling Vegeta. In the actual anime,
Yeah.
I think that and in the manga, it was done very well, but in this arc we got so much more well put characterization for him in this arc. Like the way that he went about like feeling guilty for like the way for like what he did to the Namekians and trying and redeeming himself for the things that he caused them, because it takes you back to that episode in Z where he killed like this whole village in an attempt to get their Dragon Ball, and
then stash it. Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts in that story. Like what we were talking about with Jordan, the things that Toriyama ties in. How long ago was the Namekian arc?
Mm-hmm.
So long ago, but I love how Toriyama's tying stuff in. The creator of One Piece does the same thing. Like 1,000 episodes later, you're seeing characters from like the very beginning episodes. So it's really cool when creators do that.
Yeah, well, to be fair, like when it comes to Oda, he thinks of like, I'm pretty sure he thinks of like how things are going to to pan out from when he starts a plot line alongside the Toriyama. He thinks of new things like on the spot like that, like whenever he needs to, purposefully leaving the story vague so that he can kind of fill in extra details afterwards in a way of like not only adding more to the story and making other things make sense. It's like he's constantly like in a way like Toriyama constantly is expanding, but he doesn't expand it in the same way as Oda. Oda expands it in a way where he's able to add in other stuff, like in the similar way as Toriyama, where he has other stuff after. But everything, it's like he throws in, like he has a plan, whereas Toriyama, he just kind of runs with it. He throws out like a thing with the story, and then like even as like the things we're writing, he figures out stuff right then and there, like how things will go, and also tying it back to previous things, which is why Toyotaro is so helpful to him and such. Now,
and plus he took a break too, and Oda never took a break, so it's probably easier for Oda to remember shit compared to Toriyama, because Toriyama took a hiatus for like 15 years or something like that.
Well, yeah, but it was just because of the fact that the anime, the manga was pretty much done for like a long time. He wasn't intending to come back. Yeah. Oddly enough, it was.
Yeah.
And we'll do a whole episode.
Just got so popular.
Oddly enough, we'll do a whole episode about this movie. But funny enough, it was Dragon Ball Evolution that scared Toriyama into coming back, because he didn't want like Western media to like make a bad image of his property, and it's definitely like we've come a long way from that, and you can definitely tell. I think Toriyama, he's him coming back and doing this, he's really like going forth with the arcs to try to make people understand where the core of the series really comes from, and it's definitely seen through not just the Moro, like the Moro arc, but also with the Granola arc on top of that.
Which I will see very soon.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Or read.
You will like just how the Vegeta's guilt is tackled in the next arc. Like they work on that whole aspect of his character even more and give him different challenges that he had, which it makes it really interesting. It's almost like his guilt, where in the Moro arc it is a strength added into his character. In the Granola arc, it's more so like that guilt is actually a weakness holding him back from other things that he could be doing. Which, again, okay, I'm being very brief on there.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I'll get to it very soon, because I read this, I think, in like a couple days or a few days.
Yeah,
you read the Moro arc.
You read through it pretty quickly. But I love, like, okay, so like this now. Let's talk about like when Goku and Vegeta first arrive on planet Namek. Now, this is also kind of taking in from like the inspiration behind Frieza, as like it's the big bad villain looking for the Dragon Balls, and it happens to be on planet Namek. You could say, okay, well, it's like King Piccolo, or it's like all these different things and such. But it's like they're really like both, and just the Namek setting really just helps it lean more so towards Frieza and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it was like
the DBZ vibes, man. DBZ vibes.
Absolutely.
But that's what I loved about the Moro arc, though, and the tone shift as well. The tone of it like just shifted after the Tournament of Power, which I really, really love that too. Because it just went from like they were all just battling and then they won, so it was a sigh of relief, celebration, everybody's happy. Then all of a sudden, holy crap! Whoa! Like it just flipped on you and got dark and serious that quick. But yes, sir. Continue on. I
yeah,
just wanted
like
to
the tone
that about it.
No, of course, like the tone shifts, and even like it reminds me of that's one of the advantages of the Goku Black arc as well. Like they really had a very like dark introduction to to the arc, like with Goku Black going in and like pretty much wrecking it. Like there's very little members of humanity even left, and Trunks is just like running desperately. The man's eating cat food, which is the food that Luffy does not want to be eating, but but the
he does not.
And just a lot of those types of darker introductions really do help to serve the tone for the show, which is what Dragon Ball is really good at doing. And this was one of those instances. It was no different. Like seeing Goku and Vegeta fight Moro for the first time really because of his powers, really I feel made them feel helpless and such. Like you really felt like there was Goku and Vegeta were lacking in a lot of ways, and what
they
is
were
stopping
caught
this
off guard.
dude? He's like super overpowered. Like Moro was like introduced to be really overpowered. Like how on earth is anyone supposed to take this dude down? How does
they weren't used to that type of a ability, I guess you'd call, because he was using magic. Moro, he wasn't using the basic energy, or he would absorb your energy and then use it against you. So he was just beating the crap out of them, and he beat them so bad that, like what you were saying, he eventually drains all your energy, and then they're thinking to themselves, how the hell are we going to beat this guy?
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, that's even more, that's the fact that Moro at first isn't even a combat fighter. He's a magic user, really added into that refreshing aspect. Like he's not fighting on the same, he's not fighting the same game that Goku and Vegeta are usually
so
doing.
Used to.
Hence the reason why you're just like wondering how the heck are they supposed to beat him, and then they figure out a way later, but not until after Moro was pretty much, spoiler alert. Well, I mean you read the manga, but not until Moro was able to pretty much kill leave them for dead, near death, alive and such, after he sapped away all of their energy and such. Dude, that whole what happened with the guy, the little Frieza henchman dude, and after Moro killed him as he was granting the wishes and such, that was great.
That was messed up.
It was, but it added more into Moro. I think it was so, again, just that ferocity, that no F's given type of attitude. Cold. Yeah, he's a cold blood.
Yeah, he is villain. A cold. Yeah, bloodthirsty villain. Yeah, I feel like he's more like Frieza's evil, and that's what's great about his character. But Moro is just on different type of evil, and it's scary as hell. Like Frieza was scary, but you kept rooting for Goku. I mean, you do for Goku in this one, and Vegeta, you root for them, but Moro beats the crap out of them, I think, on what, 2 or 3 separate occasions, and then finally the 4th time Goku finished it. I think because Whis gave him a hint on how to stop him, because Goku did something very controversial. Do you want to talk about that now, or should we wait?
We'll wait about it. We'll wait a little bit later. I do actually have a question I want to ask you before we transition to the next part of the arc. Okay, so what did you think of Moro's wish to the Namekian Dragon Balls?
Well, the second one was him wishing all the prisoners out, so they were already in transit. Mm-hmm. Oh no, yeah. And what was his first? Oh, his first wish was to regain all his original power or something like that, and it would be younger. Yeah. And then he got younger, because before he looked all old and fragile, super skinny, really long beard. I like his design too. Moro has a cool design. Goat, right? Mm-hmm. But the way they did it looked really cool. So when he did his wish, He was more muscular, younger looking. His beard got smaller, and he was more powerful too. And that wish, yeah, it was something. Who else wished for that? Did somebody else wish for that or
King
want
Piccolo.
to?
But he got eternal.
Okay, yeah.
He got youth from that. I mean, Lord Slug as well, but he was also like a copy villain from King Piccolo.
Yeah, and you were saying it kind of reminded you of the King Piccolo, like the same wish, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think it was an intended reference because, like, again, Moro's meant to be a representation of Goku's past villains.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which they did capture really well. It was done so well, but it's so crazy they capture all past villains in this villain, but he's also a refreshing take on a villain in Dragon Ball. So it's like, geez, they worked that in so good.
Yeah.
But,
so the thing I wanted to ask, look, so the wish for Moro to wish back, like to wish for the prisoners to be able to escape and such, was one of the. Okay, so excuse me. When everyone was reading the manga, it was on the chapters were releasing on a month-to-month basis, and as a result of that, a lot of people's expectations for what that wish was they're just like wondering, what is that wish? What is that wish? Could he be wishing to take down the angels? Does he want to wish the powers of the angel? Does he want to wish for the powers like what that like their expectations? Because of the fact that this is lingering for so long on a month-to-month read of the chapter, they're thinking that this wish is supposed to be like something, like massively crazy, like world-shattering type of thing. And
but it was something just like, what? That I was just like, that was it?
But like you didn't seem to have be any bothered by it at all, and you want to know why? It's because it's not even necessarily a problem with the way that it was written. The problem here is with the manga was the expectations and the whole thing with the
everybody coming up with like their own theories of what his wish was.
The time.
So they
the published
expected too much from the wish, and they were probably let down by what it was. But truthfully, that wish really wasn't bad, because a lot of those prisoners he gave some of his power to. But one of those prisoners was so badass, 7-3. That was such a cool character that they just threw in. But you were just like, whoa, because he was just like Moro. He did not mess around, but he had like a serial killer vibe because he had no emotions. And that made it even more scary of a villain attacking you like that. Plus, he can copy you if he's able to grab you from your neck. I guess from behind your neck or anywhere on your neck. Yeah,
and it's just like, now, to be honest, like, from my first impressions of 7-3, I was like, what is he, this universe's version of Hit? And boy, was I way off. I was way off of, what
it did give those vibes of Hit. It did. I can't fault you for that, because I thought maybe he was just he did look more powerful than all the other guys, and you could tell that shorter guy was like telling him what to do, so you knew that he was strong. And then once we saw him do what he did, you're like, oh damn, he is strong. But yeah, he did have a hit type vibes at first, and we were off. Yeah.
He ended up having a lot more similarities in such to Aniraza from the Tournament of Power, just merely from the fact that he has like his one weakness is that one crystal on the top of his head, which is something that I've noticed in Dragon Ball. They're kind of doing a lot, even with funny enough, like, hold on, so Moro, when he absorbs 7-3. And Goku and like Goku, beats like destroys that gem on his head. It was just like it was.
Yeah.
We had that. We had like 7-3 having that weakness in the first place and such, and now it's like we had that with Aniraza with 7-3 did, and then we recently had that be the case with Cell Max when Gohan fired the Mankanko Sappo.
What the hell's going on here?
Dragon Ball's
it's like hit the red eye.
Dragon Ball's doing that a lot. Like just destroy that one spot of the head.
Yeah, but so that I know, you bringing that up just made me realize all of that. And then also, have you noticed? Remember Goku Black? He refused to lose, so then he kind of became like one with the universe or galaxy or something, whatever he did, or part of the Earth or something. So he did that, and it's like, oh, he's one of the Earth now. And they kind of did something similar with Moro.
In the manga, it was different, but yeah, like Goku Black's energy became one with the universe and such. Like based off of he multiplied into like a bunch of Zamasus all over the place. In the
oh man, like Agent Smith from the Matrix.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. The way that the anime did it was like kind of weird, but I just assumed like he multiplied all over in the form of his energy. In the manga, it wasn't at all like the anime. With what happened after Zamasu got split, he just turned into like a bunch of merged Zamasus, like an army of metal coolers and such. That was actually a reference. That was actually referenced at the end and such.
Yeah.
Like the ever expanding merged Zamasu.
What do you think of references like that? I like them. But you have people out there, who probably don't like them.
It depends. Okay, so to me, I feel like references it depends on how they're done. If it's a reference without substance, it feels cheap and unearned and such. Like, for example, in the Resurrection F version of the Dragon Ball Super anime, when Piccolo died to, protect Gohan, that was a reference callback to, when Nappa killed him, when Piccolo protected Gohan then. But it had no substance. There was it didn't help to serve the story at all. It was just a reference for the sake of a reference, and it was really upsetting and such. So In other cases though, when there's certain things that are purposeful callbacks that add to the overall story, and that they're actually intended and such, and they're intended to help serve the story. That's when the references are done very good. That's when they're being
pretty much the entirety of the superhero movie with Gohan and Piccolo's relationship from where it began in Z to where it pretty much concluded here in that movie.
Yeah, although I would say that nowadays with Super, it's less of a, they do things that are less of a reference at least in the manga currently. It's more so like, oh, okay, well, with the newest arc, which we're not going to get into, they're definitely doing more references to the early stages of the Buu arc. But it's more so nowadays with Super that they're doing representations of certain things that also have similarities to things from the past arcs. Hence, So if you want to say oh, Moro hunting the Dragon Balls is a reference to when Frieza did that, it's not. Yeah. I wouldn't really say reference is the right word. It's representation.
Yeah, and then if you think about it, if anybody found out that there was Dragon Balls like that, and we lived in a world like that where you can go out in space and with your own ship and shit, I'd try to go find them too. So if you're already evil-minded, yeah, you're gonna want to go get those things, and plus you get 3 wishes from the ones on Planet Namek. So let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And, we got Moro's wishes. And then the guy that he escaped the prison with from the beginning, here's another example. Did we go over this? Of what he did to him?
Which prisoners? There's multiple prisoners. You gotta be more specific.
Well, the only one that Moro escaped with from the beginning.
Oh, that one guy.
Remember they were both...
Yeah, that one... Yeah, the guy that he killed.
Remember he was the one that... That's another example of Moro's coldness, like what we were talking about before. I don't think we brought that up, but that's another example of how this guy is just so sociopath. He doesn't care. And Frieza was similar, but I don't know, with Moro I just got more dark vibes.
Yeah, honestly, the thing about it is that, okay, Jordan helped me see it like this, and no, if anyone's gonna be stealing Dragon Balls from me, I'm gonna want it to be Frieza, because at the very least, Frieza will ask before you refuse him, and then he kills you for it. If you abide by him,
Frieza won't kill you.
Yeah, no, but if you abide by Frieza, he lets you live. He's like, all right, all right. He's like, all right, you know what? You've listened to me. I let you live. Yeah, don't disobey me.
Yeah. Frieza would give them a chance. Moro would just kill you after he got what he needed.
Exactly.
And even someone that he was befriending, he killed too, and it's like, geez, man. So yeah, Moro is a different level of
coldness.
A villain. Yeah, in Dragon Ball, like what we were saying, the tone shifts in such like a dramatic way, but in such a good way too.
Yeah.
Something else I loved is more of a comedy part with Beerus. So Beerus is just we're on his planet with Whis, and Beerus is so bored that he's playing like a fishing game with a fish to see who can catch the most fish.
Yes. Okay.
That's how bored he is.
No, that's actually a purposeful reference to Journey to the West. That's what Wukong did. There's a comic panel that I got from Jordan. I'll send it to you over here. It's like it's exactly like, you know, a 1-to-1 thing. I did it I edited a video on it that Jordan did with Geekdom.
Yeah. Damn, that really does take inspiration from that then. But I love that also. Just the little comedic stuff in it just makes you crack up, and I love the humor in manga. It's in manga and anime. It just blends in with how their series is or manga is.
No kidding.
Yeah. I think that was really the only main two things I wanted to talk about. We already went over. So
okay, so let's go ahead. So like this is after. So one other thing. I liked that they actually did in the with the Namekians what we have been wanting to see from the a bunch of Dragon Ball fan mangas, and that is like a bunch of the Namekians fusing together to become a super Namekian, and then just even adding more into Moro's coldness. With them fighting back, being hopeless, he kills him in one shot. Was this your?
And it was brutal too. Yeah, like, right through his chest. Like,
was this your warrior? I thought. Sorry, I shouldn't.
And there was 3 of them.
It was a bunch.
But yeah,
I feel like it was a bunch more than 3. Like a bunch of them, like sort of started flying and coming together like that. Towards Moro.
Was there more than 3? Yeah, there might have been. But yeah, Moro wiped the floor with them, killed them all.
Yeah, like it was all.
It's like, man,
even more hopeless, man.
Yeah, it just goes to show you again how cold Moro is. That's a great word to describe him. He is just a cold being. He's a cold creature
with a superiority complex.
Yeah. But he made this story really good too. You always got to have a good villain with your stories for your heroes, and Moro fit it really well.
The arc that Goku and Vegeta both go down. Okay, we can talk about Beerus after, like in a second here. So Vegeta, plan. They separate, and it's interesting. Goku.
This was the first time after they got beat, or was it the second time after they got beat?
One of them. This was like Vegeta's leaving, going to Planet Yardrat.
Yeah, because he was pissed off.
Yeah, he's going to Planet Yardrat, and then Goku, he finds like this time chamber on another planet that makes it to where a few days or like a few weeks. I don't remember the exact specifications of it. But,
yeah.
But he
similar to.
Yeah, he
what
goes.
They have on Earth.
Yeah, so he goes in there. He goes into the chamber, and like Beerus is. Now here we can talk about Beerus. So Beerus is helping him, learn, figure out, his Ultra Instinct. Goku's like, well, I don't know how to use it. It's been so long, and like the Tournament of Power, it made me forget about it. I don't know why I was able to do it there, and so the reveal in that Beerus later was an angel. I think definitely helped, serve. Like it was a lot of people's predictions and such, and that made the most sense, especially because he had like
give off like an angel look. Well, yeah.
But like he had like the white hair, and in the colored version, he had the same skin tone as Whis. It was very like it was very like obvious at certain points, and eventually
that really bad haircut. But he was a really interesting. Like they made his character interesting, because I'm reading it from I've never seen him before. And it was cool how Vegeta and Piccolo, Vegeta and Goku picked up on it right away. Goku didn't really say anything, but Vegeta pretty much called him out for it. And then Beerus tries to deny it which was funny, but the whole time he wasn't using his angel powers either. He was just using Galaxy Patrol weaponry and items that they had.
Yeah,
just there.
Well, there was a few times that like he did kind of show that he's way more capable of other things. Like for example, when he at the very beginning of the arc, when he kind of just, I think, what did he do? He made Goku fall unconscious, I think, for like a bit, so that they can throw him into the ship with him. And
yeah.
It was one of those things. I forgot. Like, how did they get him into the ship? But like, no, like you can tell, like he was
they
very much
sprinkled little teases throughout it. I didn't pick up on too many of them. Besides, everybody knew like just his look. He looked like an angel,
Yeah, so. And then like going back, it's obvious. Mirror was using a form of Ultra Instinct. Because that's what's implanted into his nature and such. So yeah, that's what's cool.
Making back to Goku and him.
Yeah, that made it to where him and Goku, like, he was the perfect person to be teaching Goku how to use Ultra Instinct and such. And that version that he used for like a little bit, the sign version, I think was great. He wasn't like Goku's Ultra Instinct was not complete until like sometime later, which was awesome when it was. But like seeing Ultra Instinct sign in that version. Like again was really rewarding and really cool to see, because we didn't think that we were going to be seeing that after the anime for like a long time, but they did. They made it to where it's relevant. It's like Goku's still adapting, and it's all his learning curve towards the towards where he's trying to go in the series. It's a stepping stone. Even more, and you'll see.
And I liked how they did it too. He didn't just get it again like that. Like he worked for it, and Miras helped him on his way to doing that. He pretty much helped push him to get to that mastered Ultra Instinct level, which I enjoyed seeing that part of the story. And then for Vegeta, he goes over to Yardrat, and they look totally different now. And I think a lot of them just look different in general on that planet, but one of their powers, they're able to create like copies of themselves. So that's why there were so many of them. They were saying when Goku landed there, which is cool. But Vegeta, when he went there, I thought he was going there to learn instant transmission. I'm like, how much is that gonna help?
Yeah,
but he went there to learn a little bit more than that.
Yeah, forced spirit fission. Now this was refreshing to see, different techniques in Dragon Ball, being overall helpful, to the plot of the story, which I like because it seemed like in the direction that they're going in, they're making more, technique based types of stuff, which, well, not that
they needed to against Moro.
Yeah, 100%. Especially in order to avoid like a lot of the like a lot of his magic attacks and whatnot. But even more so than that, what I found interesting before the Force Spirit thing was introduced was the concept of like his ki. Well, I think they call it chakra. Yeah, in the manga they call it chakra. That he had a chakra imbalance. So when he started using ki again, it was just like so much more started coming out of him, and he couldn't control it. And it makes you think back to like Vegeta throughout all of Dragon Ball Z, and I feel like that made so much sense, because Vegeta, when he trained, he always worked on his strength. He was bodybuilding. He was trying to get stronger through that way, when it's just like none of that was really like the right way for Vegeta to get stronger. All he did was when becoming stronger, it was all willpower and him trying to abide by his pride, him trying to be like the best version that he can be, not really training the right way. And it kind of makes, when you think about it, when you look back at it, all of those instances in which Vegeta used like his big energy blast attack, like with Final Flash or with Gallic Gun. Well, Gallic Gun almost could have worked, but what was it in the Goku Black in the Goku Black arc of the manga? He did this technique called, and in the Tournament of Power, he did a technique called Gamma Burst Flash, which none of those worked either. These are all like instances that kind of end up pointing to Vegeta kind of having that imbalance, and it makes you wonder, like, could Vegeta had Vegeta like tapped into that that sort of problem, could things have been earlier in the story, could things have been much different for him? And it makes I like it because it amplifies things that we kind of already knew and made it into a current problem.
Yeah, that is a very interesting way to look at that. I really do like to like that deep thinking about it. That's very interesting though. Mm-hmm. I like it. Man.
Yeah. And so like back into back into like that whole like training aspect. Like now this one, so because of the fact that, and I remember people when they're reading the manga again month to month basis, because Goku arrived to the battlefield. Oh wait, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm going too fast. We gotta talk about Gohan and Piccolo and like on Earth when that stuff is going on.
Yeah, I like them in it too. That was probably one of my favorite parts to the manga when all the Z fighters started popping up. That was so fun to see and just. I mean, we do see them kind of fight in the Tournament of Power, but it was different seeing them protect Earth for real, It was cool seeing all of them band together and fight and try to stop these guys, and then with 7-3 in there beating the crap. Like, he grabbed Piccolo by the neck, and then it's like, oh, come on, Piccolo, what are you doing? And even Jocko said it. He's like, Piccolo, I just told you to avoid that. And Piccolo's like, yeah, I know, he caught me off guard. So then Gohan joins them, and then he gets them again, both of them. And you're like, bro, what are you doing? Because he even told Gohan about it. But they planned it.
Yes.
My friend. They planned it. They planned it, which was really cool. What did they do? I forgot what they did after to use that against 7-3. Because remember they planned 7-3 to grab Piccolo and Gohan?
They wanted to what was it they wanted to do? They wanted to shut him off or something. I think there was a way they wanted to turn him off, and I don't remember how it was that
they
worked.
figured out something, but it was really cool the way they did it.
Dang
really
it! You just read the arc.
I know, it's like right on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what they did. It's like shit.
Watch, we'll remember this after the episode, and then you're like, dang it, that's what it was. You'll put a comment over here.
I'll look it up later, and it'll pop up, or I'll have a picture or something. But something else I really liked was 7-3 was really hurting Piccolo and Gohan at one point, and I loved the save from androids 17 and 18. I was just I felt like cheering because it was so cool to watch. They always come in the clutch, mainly 17. Tell me he doesn't always come in clutch spots. It's always fun when he arrives, or both the androids. But it was cool when they arrived because they started mopping the floor with most of the prisoners. And then I forgot who came in and just started. I think it was because they started beating the shit out of 7-3 because 7-3 is also an android. Because his energy, he never runs out of energy, which is damn it, he'll never get tired. But the androids are the same way, so they were the perfect matchup for him, which made that even more intense and yeah, let's go. I cannot wait till they bring Super back in anime, because seeing this arc is going to be so fun and it's going to look amazing once it's animated.
Can we just take a second to appreciate the gore and and all of the blood we get to see in the manga as opposed to the anime?
Yes.
In the anime, this stuff would get heavily censored, and it makes me scared for how the anime would actually go about handling the gore and such, because this stuff here in the manga gets bloody.
Yeah, I like seeing that because it's it was never intended for children, it was more for teenagers and adults, or young adults and adults. The anime is mainly, that's who they're aiming at, mainly, not children.
Yeah.
I mean, they do have children ones, but yeah, I really did like the bloodiness. There was a lot of it. I noticed that, and I wish we would get it more often in Dragon Ball Super, because we did get it like alright in Z, especially the Gohan and Cell fight. So that was pretty good with the bloodiness there and stuff. But yeah, this one was and Moro's going straight through people's bodies, blood dripping off his hands. Yeah, it was a little graphic.
Man, by now all of those kids that they were censoring the content for are just like they're teens now. So like with how long this anime has been gone, so it would be really nice if we got Dragon Ball Super in a different time slot so they can actually add in and animate blood and gore and such into it. That would be great.
I wish they would make two versions. One that's more TV friendly, and then make like the hard R and R rated version, because they did that with Z too. Because in Z, I don't know if you remember this, but a lot of times they just show their fist and they're like, and they show like their eye like that. They're really flipping off that person. They're giving them the middle finger.
Yeah.
So that's
how. That was more so censorship.
Gohan.
That was more so censorship. No, that censorship you're talking about, that was only for like the release of it on like Cartoon Network and in like in here in the West. In the East, they didn't censor any of that stuff at all because the regulations at the time were different.
I think I had a DVD or a Blu-ray set, probably a DVD set that had that version, like I think it was the yellow box set version.
The orange brick? The orange bricks?
No, not the orange ones, the second ones. The ones that are like super expensive.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what they are, but I'm sure they exist.
That had a few different versions, and one of them was that one, like the unrated, because that's what made me buy it. They're like, the unrated, never before seen scenes in Dragon Ball Z. I'm like, I'm getting this. But it was cool seeing that, because you saw like more blood. They're flipping off, cursing a little bit more, not too much.
Yeah.
But it was cool seeing that.
Yeah, but like but what you're talking about, the comparison and like how they would go about censoring, I'm thinking, because with what JoJo's Bizarre Adventure did, they have a TV version of certain events take place, and then but they censor it purposefully. In the Blu-ray, they show that they show what that gore is that they censored out. They had actually animated, and so if they do something like that for Super, that would be pretty good. But it's like, it begs the question: would they even animate something like that in the first place for television? Knowing that kids aren't going to see it, it's debatable because
they wouldn't.
It's Toei. It's Toei.
They'd only do it for like a Blu-ray set or something, but they wouldn't even do it for that. It wouldn't be worth it, I don't think. For that.
Well, yeah, but at the same time as well, Toei is known to cut costs on certain things when it comes to animation and time and whatever. So
Toei doesn't try to do. I mean, they're not too bad with blood, but like Dragon Ball's like one of their biggest things. They don't want to like damage it too. They don't want to damage it by like, oh, it's so gory now. They want to keep it as it is, so it could be like more family aimed. So it's not. They're not cursing and all that. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Yeah.
So okay. So the Gohan Piccolo stuff, that was really cool to see, and just have like that whole like army of people from the Galactic Patrol, like just kind of coming in to help out, especially with the stuff with Moro. It was the androids, I felt, because they also have infinite energy, them fighting alongside.
They were a big help. Yeah.
That was just also really good because they're not affected. They're not affected by Moro's energy sapping thing, Majig.
Yeah, that was another thing. Yeah.
So yeah, that was also really cool to see as well. Like that coming back, them being useful and such. Especially 17, because 17 MVP of the Tournament of Power,
and now MVP on Earth during the Moro arc.
Okay, so this is what people were concerned about when they first watched it, because Goku arrived first. A lot of people expected Vegeta to kind of be the one to kind of go in there and be the one to kill Moro, and where Vegeta he did beat Moro. Okay. I see this time and time again. It's because people don't understand that so long as Vegeta has the mindset of not of wanting to beat someone for the sake of his own pride, he's never going to win.
Yeah.
Like that's been like the case every single time because he's always fighting for a pride. Whenever Vegeta,
he's pretty much being selfish. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever Vegeta is fighting for the sake of anything other than himself, and when he's fighting for the sake of protecting people and not for himself, that's when Vegeta ultimately does get the edge in battle and such. Hence the reason why Vegeta, and it goes back to like kind of what the problem that was exploited in Resurrection F that they talked about, in that when Vegeta, like, you know, he has the opportunity because he's more concerned with you know, proving himself and such, it grants the villains an ample time to like change things. Well, that's why Frieza was able to destroy the Earth, and in this case, that's why Moro was just kind of like able to leave and eat 7-3, and therefore Vegeta's win was, you know, taken from him before because he couldn't.
Because what's worse than that? Remember when he let Cell swallow up 18 so he could go into Perfect Cell, and then they almost couldn't beat him.
Yeah, it's the same problem.
He does stupid things just like Goku.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the case of Goku, so the case with Goku goes much deeper, but him acting like that, because with the way that Goku is written. Okay, so do we talk? Okay, let's just skip ahead and talk about, like, you know, an important aspect with Goku giving Moro the Senzu Bean. After he also pummels him.
Deja vu.
So yeah, Miras dies because he helps out because he goes in, you know, he tries, you know, fight like getting involved because he got himself involved, and where angels are not supposed to, you know, get involved in the matters of mortals, you know, he dies because that's kind of goes to show like the sense of justice really affected that. So causes Goku to get MUI. Goku beats the crap out of Moro. The way that it was done was awesome. We got to see the God Bind technique kind of come back for like a little bit from Dragon Ball Super Broly as Goku just kind of pounded Moro into the sky. He came right back down. It was, the visuals on that was fantastic. So
yeah, Moro's expressions to like, how the hell did he get this powerful? And it was great seeing that too. Finally, Moro's getting a taste of his own medicine. He can't steal that Ultra Instinct power like how he sucks energy out of people. Mm-hmm. So that was another good thing about the mastered Ultra Instinct. But yeah, I know when Miras did die, that's what really flipped that switch in Goku to hit that mastered Ultra Instinct. And then Moro was pretty much almost done after all that. But I loved I love Ultra Instinct every time I see it. It's so cool seeing either the Omen one, where his hair is still black but like the silver tips, and then the mastered Ultra Instinct. So that was great seeing that. And but yeah, what we were saying with the whole Senzu Bean thing, I guess this was very controversial when this first came out because Goku.
There's another controversial thing that I forgot about, but yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, he gave. I don't know why he still believes villains are gonna say, Goku's pretty much, hey, are you gonna stop fighting and let me bring you back to the Galaxy Patrol's prison? And because Moro was gonna die. He was really sentenced to death, but nobody was strong enough to sentence him to death, I guess. So Goku asked that to Moro. One time Moro was bitching, complaining, and then Goku's like, I'm going to ask you one more time. Then Moro's like, yeah, I'll stop and go back to the prison. So then he gives him the Senzu Bean, and Moro asks what it is, and he eats it, and then all of a sudden he's like replenished. You know, his energy's back. He's not hurt anymore if he was hurt, and he feels like brand new. So, of course, a villain being a villain, Goku being Goku, of course Moro isn't going to go quietly right back to prison. He's going to try to kill you because he thinks he has all his energy back, that he's able to defeat Goku, but he still can't. Goku's still so much more powerful than him.
So the reason as to why Goku had to give Moro the Senzu Bean, now he's not giving it to him with intent, but it's because of the fact that Goku. Yeah. Okay, so here's how it's more so like a viewing of how things are in Japan, and I actually do agree with this. But yeah, Goku for a bit of time he was fighting Moro because he wanted to have a sense of justice, And
Yep.
but the thing about it is that with Goku, because he's pure of heart, and if you have the thing is that if you have a sense of justice, it's kind of against Goku's own character, because a sense of justice means that you're doing things because you yourself believe that those are the right thing, meaning that it's you deciding what is inherently right and wrong. That in and of itself in the East. Did I say? I might have been saying West. I meant East. Like, it is contradictory to what a pure of heart, thing is, because when you're abiding by things that you consider to be right and wrong, it's you're going off of things based off of your own sense of morality. Thus, you can't act out of pure intention, of wanting of doing things. Goku, in the sense of, like, even though Moro's obviously, like, the big bad guy, he, like, because he's pure of heart, because he was raised by Grandpa Gohan to be like that, he's like, okay, I'm gonna give this dude a chance. He's gonna give him the senzu bean and help him out.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it was kind of like useless in the end.
Goku will always give a villain a chance. That's Goku. Like you said, he's pure of heart. He doesn't want to kill someone. I don't really think he ever has, besides the Kid Buu, maybe.
But not only that, but it's also because of the effect of the karma from the Dragon Balls and such. Because Goku has used the Dragon Balls so many times for, like, pure intention, out of pure intentions, to help out and such. If he goes about, if he begins to go about, like, his way and such of, doing things for the right reason, for those pure intentions, it's ultimately going to bite him back later, because karma will affect him and cause him to suffer in a specific way. Like, that's actually one of the so, like, for example, in the Cell arc, one of the reason as to why Goku ultimately died in the end was because, like, and karma ended up hitting him, was because of the fact that when he gave that senzu bean over to Gohan, when he put Gohan into the front without understanding, Gohan, that was one of those instances where Goku what is wrong in what the universe is in accordance, like throwing your son in to, like, fight the big bad guy. It's not a really good look. I mean, granted, Goku, like, had his reasons and such, and it made sense, but it ultimately just did, like, that's ultimately the reason as to why Goku ended up dying, was karma coming back and biting him for, like, doing that.
Pretty much. Like, Goku could have beat Cell. He definitely could have, if he wanted to. But he wanted Gohan to learn to take that big role of being the planet's, at the time, just the planet's, like, savior and hero. They're gonna protect Earth no matter what, because their families live on there. They're good people, pure-hearted people, and Goku will always be like that. Gohan is different. Gohan will kill the villain, which I like when I do like when heroes do, but that's because, like, Gohan snaps, like what we were talking about in the Gohan video. Like, he snaps. I like how he just killed all those Cell Juniors, and I mean, it had struggled with killing Cell, but Goku kind of did help.
Yeah. Well, Goku, like, Goku has, killed people before in the past, like the Red Ribbon Army people, but that was just because Goku was naive and did not understand the concept of, like,
still a kid.
Yeah, like, he didn't realize that doing that was wrong, in a sense, like, like,
he probably didn't even know, like, that's what it. Yeah, he probably didn't really know what death is, maybe. No, but he knew
what death was, because Grandpa Gohan was dead. Yeah, he straight up said, like, "Yo,
yeah." That's what I was saying. I'm like, nah, wait, because he knew his grandpa was dead. Yeah. But he didn't really know that right from wrong, because Grandpa Gohan probably didn't get a chance to teach him. Well, he obviously didn't get a chance to teach him everything, because he didn't know a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think, and that's why, with the Cell arc and such, Goku realized that he did wrong. That's when it's like, oh, yeah, I messed up. That's why it was, different in that case. But yeah, okay, so I want to also talk about the other controversial thing. in this arc. Then this is actually
you remembered it.
We're gonna rewind a little bit back. Okay, so So there was a comment where so Vegeta, he's about to start fighting Moro, and he does begin to fight Moro, and he's all confident. Yeah. And Piccolo says that Vegeta has never been one to underestimate an opponent. Let that line sink in.
Has never been one to underestimate. All right. So.
So think about all those times.
Piccolo said that about Vegeta.
Yes.
Underestimate.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, Vegeta does lose a lot.
Well, yeah.
Is he trying to do him dirty by saying that?
No, it's not that. Okay, so
Vegeta. He said Vegeta doesn't underestimate his opponent.
So this is what the translation is. Vegeta has never been one to underestimate his opponent.
All right. Say it.
Now, off of that, you can see the problems with that line.
Yeah, because he always. I mean, but that's how he's written by Toriyama. He never beats the main villain. I mean, he doesn't always lose Vegeta, but when he's going against a main villain, yeah, he does.
Okay. I'm going to actually tell you something. So what Piccolo said is actually true.
Yeah.
No.
Like Vegeta.
Listen, Vegeta. Now it seems the problem with that line is that it seems wrong. Vegeta with what Piccolo said. That's why it's problematic.
He's not one to underestimate his opponent. Yeah, which
all of those instances.
Vegeta isn't.
Yeah, all of those instances in which Vegeta, he lost a fight. Like for example, with with Frieza and such, and then with Cell, and then with Boo, and
and with Goku and the Saiyan Saga,
and Fat Boo is what it seems blatantly incorrect that about Vegeta. Now I'm gonna tell you why this is true. Because
that's why I thought he was taking like a jab at him.
Okay.
That was my first thought, like when you said that, because I'm like, every time he fights like a main villain, he always loses.
So it makes you wonder. Okay, so let's say this is true. So if Vegeta doesn't actually underestimate his opponents, what's the big what's the big problem? And this is where it because you got to think about it a little bit. It makes sense. Vegeta doesn't underestimate his opponents. He overestimates himself because he has so much pride in himself.
Pride, yeah.
Because he wants to believe that he has the edge on him, that he is capable of different things because of that, all of the work that he does, and he just doesn't. Hence the reason why Vegeta loses so many fights, in that he thinks of him. He always goes through this habit of thinking of himself like better and superior to everyone, with reality always coming back to making and slapping him in the face and making here's some reality.
Yeah,
you ain't better than nobody.
That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and
it really does. It's like he's overestimating himself.
Exactly.
Giving himself too much credit on who he's fighting, because every time it's the main big villain, sometimes he could hold his own a bit, but then he always loses against them. That's probably what it is. That's why I know what happens in the next arc, and that makes a lot of sense what it's called. So that we'll get into then, but yeah,
but that bit of controversy that the fans had over that, they were thinking, I remember that on Twitter they were saying, this is the dumbest writing I've ever seen Toyotaro put into the Dragon Ball Super manga. There was a lot of people, even a lot of the biggest YouTubers were kind of saying stuff like that, and the thing is that they just don't get they just don't get it. They don't see. I think it's it's actually kind of when you realize what the actual problem is, Piccolo saying that makes people think, and he's right. He's not even necessarily wrong. He is actually on the dot as to the problem with Vegeta. He just did not explicitly say what that problem was.
Yeah, and people were looking at it the wrong way.
Yeah, if people actually did go and see it from like if they had Piccolo in the arc say that his problem is that he overestimates everyone is that he overestimates his own strength, then I think a lot it would have. Not only would I feel like a lot this have not been a problem, I feel like this would have been a line that would have come off more compelling and more things that people can get behind with Vegeta's character, because that's not even a compelling thinker. That's just a straight up fact with his character.
Yeah, that was weird wording that he said, and they should have reworded that from Piccolo especially, because Piccolo's a deep thinker.
Well, it was more so just an incomplete sentence, really. But obviously Vegeta isn't focused on the problem.
Wait, did he say it out loud, or was he saying it to himself?
I think he said it out loud. I think he said it to Krillin or someone who was right next to him.
Okay, all right, yeah, or maybe it could have just been an error. Maybe they just screwed up and forgot something, or who knows? But,
it was just like they didn't think that Vegeta, this was gonna end up being like a misunderstanding. Which obviously, if you're writing a story, and I'm just saying this for anyone. If you're writing down the story and you're going about the story in like putting down things that are true, you're not gonna want to worry about the misunderstandings that people have or whatnot. You if this makes sense to you, if you're putting in that makes sense to you as the writer, that's the thing that matters most. As much like you all got there's presentation as well that that you do consider when you're making the story, but for people who have a genuine understanding and such well, I wouldn't even say okay, well you it's not that it's a lack of understanding of the characters, it's a lack of what the character's saying and thinking that it's a contradiction as to what it means, but it's not really a contradiction there.
Yeah. It's it's just he just phrased it in a way. It was phrased in a way that people misinterpret it pretty much. So I could see what you mean with it, but
what do you think? That does go into
the controversy with the two things you were talking about wasn't too bad, but the one thing we were talking about where people were waiting a month, so they really put their expectations so up high. Then when they found out the second wish of Moro, it was just letting the prisoners go. But really, that wish was it was good because we got a cool, badass villain in that arc too, and then that character also helped transform Moro to make him more dangerous, and the whole sensu bean thing too. Goku doing that after Moro still saw that he couldn't beat Goku, he became one with the Earth. Mm-hmm. So now Goku doing that put everyone on Earth at risk.
Yeah, it did. And that's why it's not. It is the most criticized aspect of what Goku did. The same thing that happened with. I mean, that's the same problem with what he did with with Cell. I think it's just you could argue. Okay, now then again, you could argue from a logistics point of view in that Goku giving the Moro the senzu bean here was worse than Cell, because you can say, okay, Goku has so much faith in his son, he knows his son can take him down. Here in the case with Moro, I think, actually it's more so probably Goku, he just knows that no matter what Moro does, he's able to take him down. In this case, he has more faith in himself.
Yeah.
Which I guess whichever one is worse is really up to your own interpretation as to which one validates giving the villain the senzu bean. It's just ultimately in Goku's pure of heart nature to give the villains a chance, the ones that don't deserve it and such.
Yeah, that's all it was. And I think he forgot the depths of Moro's abilities, because Moro did something totally random, you know. It's like, what the hell? You wouldn't expect a villain to do that, you know. No villains really have ever done that besides something kind of like what Goku Black did in the anime. I know he did something different in the manga though, but the whole Moro arc, I had a blast reading it. I tell you that it was super fun read. I was so entertained all throughout it, extremely intrigued. The story is great. It's if you are a Dragon Ball Z fan, this is something you need to get on. I'm not a big manga reader, but getting into this now, I want to catch up to where they're currently at, which I will, and we're gonna get into the Granola arc too. But the Moro arc was just, it might be my favorite arc from Super as of now. Yes,
and also
because I liked it a lot.
If you are a genuine Dragon Ball fan, and you want to have a better time enjoying the series, stay off of Twitter. Yeah. Is just stay off of Twitter and wait till you actually judge the entire arc for yourself before letting some other people who go on the internet who complain about it determine your own opinion on the arc.
Read it yourself. Everybody has different opinions about stuff.
Yes.
As a longtime Dragon Ball Z fan, I know you will like this. It's great. It's gonna give you those Dragon Ball vibes, and it's what you loved from when you first discovered Dragon Ball. That's how I could put it. That's how much I enjoyed this arc. It really had a lot of it. Even it brought nostalgia there too. It was a great arc. And I'm extremely excited for the Granola arc now, and I can't wait to finish that up and do an episode on the Granola arc, because that one looks like it might be better than the Moro arc. I don't know yet. I'll have to find out.
That's right. Granola episode coming soon. Anyway, guys,
yes,
I think that's a great place to end off this episode. Any further thoughts before we wrap things up?
That's about it for me.
Alrighty then. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening in to this podcast. Whether you're listening in on Spotify or SoundCloud or wherever places that we're putting this on, whether you're watching it on YouTube, we really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the comment section. Until then.
See ya. Thanks for listening to our episode. If you're on YouTube and watch the video, then thank you for watching as well. We are your hosts, Starblast Studios, and me, Daredevil 19. And if you enjoyed our episode on Spotify, be sure to give us a follow and a rating. And we do thank you. And if you did watch this on YouTube, be sure to give a like if you liked it, and a subscribe if you enjoyed it. And we will catch you on the next episode of the Plastic Power Podcast.